Yeah, this drawing is on prehistoric rock in the Sahara Desert. It's known as the Great Martian God. And it's painted figures in the area of the Jabaran, and they're also called roundheads, and they're at least 9,000 years old, with their bulbous head and two eyes, but neither nose nor mouth. They appear to be portraits of spacemen. They were discovered by French archaeologist Henry Lodi, I think. They were so odd that members of his expedition dubbed them the Martians. So Von Daniken says that he thinks they're really ancient astronauts. It looks like they have a space suit on.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Now here, this is an old. Okay, we'll skip that one. Now, this is that 10,000-year-old, 10,000 BC story about these round discs which were seen.
See this?
Yeah.
That looks like more of the type of writing.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that note piece of paper?
Oh yeah.
Kind of stuff like that, you know. Or that.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, it's not geometric enough, though. Except in here, this stuff right here looks more like.
Yeah.
And this stuff.
Mm-hmm. About that.
But not the cursive so much is not real. Like that's not familiar to me.
Yeah.
But when you glance at that real fast, you get the impression of something like that is what I was seeing on the readout.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is a story about 10,000 BC. These beings came out of the clouds, and out of the clouds in their own airplanes or airships, and they were small, gaunt, yellow-faced men, and they had huge, bulging heads, puny bodies, spindly bodies, and were so ugly and repellent. They had wrinkled faces and all. They were so ugly that they were hounded down by the local tribesmen on horseback and killed. And eventually they finally killed them all. But it's a story that they came in peace, and they found them buried in caves and buried next to each other. And they know that they weren't apes or anything like that. So along with their graves, they found these stones in the caves that they were hiding in. They ended up finding about 600 and some of these.
Well, what language is that?
They found 716 of these grooved discs in the caves. They don't know. They can't decipher it. Well, they deciphered it to a point where they said that this story is that these people came down from the sky and lived with the local men, but were hunted by him because they were so ugly looking, but they came with peaceful intentions. They called them the Dropas. And they regret that the alien spaceship crash landed in such remote and inaccessible mountains, and that there was no way of rebuilding a new one to get back to their home planet. And finally they killed them all off, but they say that they tried living with them, and inside the caves there is crude pictures of the rising sun, the moon, and unidentifiable stars along with the Earth, and all joined together by lines in a pea-sized dots. Along with these discs, they found that also. So you can read this through.
Let's sit that one aside.
It's real interesting. Chinese-Tibet border. That's where they found these.
This is definitely interesting to me. This.
Yeah.
But there's something missing. It's not sharp enough. I mean, it's still too squirrely.
Yeah.
You know, it's still too free-flowing. But definitely something like this is what I saw.
Yeah.
Is this of Earth origin? This disc?
No, they couldn't decipher it. They finally deciphered it around 1965 or so. Some Chinese archaeologists finally broke the code and began deciphering it. But when they, you can read that story, it's in there. When they deciphered it, it was such a tremendously weird story that they wrote it up in the Science Journal, and then the director of sciences wouldn't let him publish it to the general people in the newspapers. So the word never got out to the people of what it was. For 2 more years, they kept it hidden, and then finally the government let it out to the rest of the world and to the people, the whole story of what that disc said. I asked the question, hon.
Oh, she asked the question.
Oh, what about?
Oh, we were talking about on the other tape. Well, this is actually, we're going back now to the other tape. So this is.
We were
We were
asking
talking
about
about-
Ouija boards.
Yeah, the Ouija boards.
Okay, did you read it?
Yeah, yeah,
You
I
read all
did.
that?
Yeah, that was great.
Secret of humming discs. Okay, Alice had an experience with the Ouija board. Now you tell us your experience.
Okay, my experience was I was sitting at my house and there were some friends over and they brought in a Ouija board, or I had one. I don't recall the instance, probably about 13, 14 years ago. And anyway, I was sitting cross-legged on my bed with the Ouija board on my lap with another individual, sitting apart from each other, and we both had our hand on this object that's supposed to move across the board, asking questions or whatever. You know, it was basically supposed to be part of a game or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But at that time, I realized I was psychic anyway. I mean, so to me, it wasn't like, I mean, I was trying to make it more real. In my mind, it was like really experiencing it for me, not just a game. But I started this rocking motion.
Right.
It was like I felt like I was starting to get tranced out. And what was weird is that at one point the board slid down on my lap only, and when you're cross-legged like that and you got a board on you, the board's going to go at an angle. It's not going to lay level. It started laying in on me, and the other person took their hand off, and I didn't have my hand on that object at all. I don't know what it's called, the thing that moves.
Oh, the planchette.
And I was rocking. I was like, felt like my body was rocking, and I felt like I was in my psychic state.
Yeah.
And I felt an extreme energy between me and this object, and I was moving it. I didn't know that I was moving it. Basically, I had my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that other fellow didn't not have his hand on it. I wasn't really aware what was going on. And the other people started freaking out because they said that I was moving it without even touching it with just my hands.
Yeah.
And I was basically moving, and then I opened up my eyes and I was in this trance state, and wherever I moved my hand, I was able to move this object, even uphill. So it wasn't like it was like it just happened to be sliding downhill. I was moving it.
Telekinesis.
I guess so. I don't know what the name of that's called. But I thought it was some spook in the room doing it, you know. But
Some
that-
spook in the room.
But so I never did that again. That scared me. I just won't do the Ouija boards. After that, I just didn't like that at all. What was your experience?
I walked into a room where a couple of my friends were just fooling around with a Ouija board. Now, I was up, here's the door, and the table was here, maybe 8 or 10 feet over, right? Sitting there, they looked over at me, you know, they were still fooling around with it, you know, not really serious about it or anything. All of a sudden, the piece that was on the board, nobody was touching it at the time, it was just sitting there, okay? Flew off the board and hit me across the room. And I just turned around, I said, I'm not meant to be here. And I just left. I refuse to go back in at all.
Yeah.
It's like there was something. It felt like there was something evil in there. Totally evil.
I felt that was what I didn't feel real good about my experience with the Ouija board. And I don't want something coming in through me that I don't know what it is. That's why I don't get off on these people that say they're channeling. I mean, if they're channeling, supposedly everybody says who they're channeling is some great god from some other time, and that, you know. Well, the way I look at it is, if some great god was channeling through another individual, if he was so great, he wouldn't need to use another individual, and he wouldn't do that because that's breaking the laws of spirituality, I think.
Right.
To me, for what I believe in.
Yeah.
You don't do that. And so these people that channel and stuff like that, I don't want nobody in me. Because they could be the black hats and just be acting like they're the white hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, if they're the white hats, they wouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't need to.
Because it's breaking spiritual laws.
Right.
So, but you can't tell that to anybody who's into doing it, because that's their level of consciousness, that's their capacity, and so basically you live and let live. That's the way I look at it. That's whatever they're dealing with. It's like basically we're involved in UFOs and extraterrestrials. Let us live.
Right.
You know, like if this is what's happening to us in our life, and this is whatever realm we're dealing in.
Yeah.
Well, this is our reality, and it may be different from somebody else's reality, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm not asking anybody basically to follow me in it. I want to be able to tell my story and have some of my friends accept it, you know, just for my own comfort in the situation. But I'm not going to try to implant in everybody's mind, you know, like go full force and say, this is happening, this is not, only to a select few.
Yeah.
Did you want to see some pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So these are real pictures of UFOs, authenticated.
But that was a neat story, huh? We're going to have to read that one.
Maybe around 1806. Yeah, he was the first, that's Captain Mantle. He went to chase a UFO and said it was huge and tremendous in size and very metallic looking. And then nothing more came out of his voice transmissions. And his plane was found later strewn over a mile. So, these were two UFOs seen over Trenton. That's what the person saw over the houses in 1953, I think.
What was the bit last night when we were talking, I was telling you about, in the dream about the green? You asked me if there was any red.
Oh yeah, the green.
What's the bit about the colors?
Well, there's a UFO story that this person went to their planet and they had to go through a reddish area, and then they went through a cave, and on the other side of the cave, when they came out, it was all green. It was all greenish area. But they saw
Is there
fish
an
and
atmosphere?
flying. There was an atmosphere
Of
there. There
red?
was animals, there was birds.
I've had a dream about being on a planet where there was, like, it was rock formation, but the atmosphere or sky was kind of reddish.
Oh yeah?
Like it's
Well,
a barren.
Rich's area is reddish, isn't it, or pinkish? Rosy color.
This is more reddish, like a tomato reddish, but very filtered, not intense, but that there's a barren type condition with rock mountains and like a barren soil, but basically a reddish.
Sounds like Mars.
Yeah, maybe it's Mars. Look at how red Mars is.
Huh?
Is that about the color?
Yeah, that's about the color.
Bloody red?
But the ground
That's like
wasn't that
bloody,
color.
Yeah.
But the ground wasn't that color.
No.
Just the atmosphere there's kind of a reddish.
The atmosphere had reddish.
Is red.
Okay.
Anyone need anything else?
You need anything?
Now, sometime today I've got to go buy a toothbrush.
I got a toothbrush. Wait a minute. How about the ones from Richard?
Yeah. She can use
Let's see
that.
what-
She's here, sure.
Oh, great.
Okay. Let me see. This is a Brazilian story of the Trinidad photos. These were taken up by the Brazilian Navy. The photographer on the ship, the Brazilian ship, took these photographs of this Saturn-shaped UFO. And there it is flying over the island. There's another There's another view of it here. Here's a close-up of it. See?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody on the ship saw this UFO flying over to the island, circling the island, and then disappearing, taking off. So this happened in 1958. These are true, authenticated stories. That's, the Brazilian Navy. I mean, how authenticated. And it was their floating scientific laboratory ship, which made the photographs. So it wanted to be taken pictures of for one of the first authenticated UFO sightings. See? Otherwise, what other explanation do you have? It's a scientific ship with professional photographers on board, and it was the Brazilian Navy. This here was...
That's an excellent picture.
Yeah,
there.
yeah. These are photographs by Paul Trent in McMinnville, Oregon, taking these two photographs in 1950. One of the first photographs of a UFO. It's very, very similar to another photograph 4 years later that was taken in France. You can remember this shape, and I'll show you the other photograph that was taken. This is a helicopter which was drawn up to this UFO. It was a red light, and all of a sudden UFO came at him head on, and he describes the entire account right here.
Hey, see this?
Yeah, the red light.
And the red light and the green light. Well,
And the
see,
green light in the
my
back.
mom describes that ship that she saw that night on Interstate 15 as cigar-shaped with red and green lights.
Well, that's cigar-shaped, see?
Yeah. And she said that part of the, there
Isn't
was
that
a place
something?
where a pod dropped out of the,
Mm-hmm.
that there was another ship that
Small
dropped
one?
out. Yeah, it dropped out of it.
This is when
But
you
it
were
was-
4 years old.
No, this is when I was, I don't know, 7-ish or something probably. But she
Oh,
said
they
that.
saw another one?
No, this is, I was probably,
Oh, okay.
no, that was
Oh,
my
okay.
first time. I don't know how old I was. I know
As
I was
a
older
child, that's
before.
right,
Yeah,
as a child.
sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, this would be like what she said that she saw. She said it was cigar shaped. And I remember she saying about the red and green lights because I just talked to
Oh,
her
wait a
about that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, looking at this helicopter witness case. This is the coin case. Now tell
Oh,
us
well,
about the
okay,
red
well
one.
basically I looked at this photo and
You
at
just
first I-
talked to your mother, right?
Yeah, I just talked to her. I was, because when I went to Vegas I wanted to get any details on, Mom, remember that time we saw that UFO?
Yeah.
She goes, well, it was cigar shaped.
Mhm.
She said, and there was red and green lights on the end of it, and another ship had dropped out of it,
Yeah, the
But
ship
it was
dropped
moving
out.
like this.
Oh,
there's a-
zigzag pattern?
Yeah. That's what she said. And then
Real erratically.
And then the small ship that dropped out of it went, was gone. Oh, she called it like, I don't know what she just called it, interplane or like went into another plane. She used some word.
Yeah.
Or interdimensional or something like that. But yeah, I'd be like that.
And that was how old were you about?
What,
Or you
7-ish? I don't know.
7-ish, okay.
I'm probably 5, 6, 7, somewhere's around there, as I think. The jet flaps.
Yeah.
The jet flaps.
The jet flaps.
So that sewed that helicopter up?
Well, it came head on at the helicopter, and it was an Army helicopter, I think.
This is it. That's what I said when I go, well, this is it.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I saw that light.
You said, what?
Oh God, this is it.
When you saw what light?
That light
Oh,
going down the interstate.
Oh, okay.
When I was with the girls in the car.
Oh, yeah.
This is it.
That's right. And then all of a sudden, what'd you find out? What did you see in your windows?
A light, just a light sweeping down, goes right towards us, and I go, oh God, it was like, this is it.
It swept down right toward you. Wow. What color light?
White. It was white.
Oh,
But
white.
then it wasn't there anymore. It was like,
Mhm.
we were driving down, and well, where'd it go?
Well, we're gonna find out about that one.
Oh, you're going to regress me on that one.
Yeah.
Can you regress?
No.
You can't do that.
I could probably learn how to do it, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't tried to. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, I've never seen one like that.
Well, these are all true, authenticated. See, police report exhibitors. Lights, shapes, exhibitors.
I've had dreams of all different types of
the
shapes.
drawing was. See, there's an artist impression of the UFO seen by this guy and two policemen. They were in close proximity to the power lines. The UFO and then they think that they probably created the Great Eastern Blackout.
I remember that.
Yeah, 65. We have pictures of UFOs over New York City skyline, over the skyscrapers. Well, all the skyscrapers were in blackness, and the UFOs were in light.
Who's got those pictures?
I have.
You got them? Are you going to show them to me?
Yeah, sure. You can see all the pictures you want. You can see all my pictures. Here's a UFO that was almost as big as a football field. Yeah, 200 feet wide. Can you imagine?
Well, I got a good story to tell you about clouds.
Oh yeah, okay. Tell me.
All right, living in Black.
All right, you're going to tell us a story about clouds.
Living in Black Mountain, we have lots of cloud formations, you know. But I swear to God, there's times I've looked over a certain area. It would be like basically down the summit from Black Mountain in a easterly direction, I guess.
Yeah.
There was clouds that looked just like UFOs.
Really?
Just like UFOs.
And did you get pictures of them?
No, because I'd be driving in my car or be
Well,
walking.
pull over.
But I didn't have my camera.
Well, that's dumb.
Well, then I was in Asheville looking towards, I was just at this little diner, the Big Apple Diner, and I was looking out the window, and I saw this huge cloud that looked just like a UFO, but it was massive.
Yeah?
Just massive.
Wow.
It must have been a couple miles,
Mhm.
or at least a mile or bigger. It was massive. I'm talking massive. There's two mountain peaks coming in the far distance, and it was over them. And it was like, looked like this. I'll draw it.
Okay.
It was,
Well, we'll
This-
draw it on my paper, so
Oh,
I have
okay.
it. Okay.
yeah, I don't need it. I got it in my mind. It impressed me so much, I kept telling these people at the restaurant, look out the window. That's a UFO. I know that's a UFO.
Wow.
And at the point of saying it, a dome
Wait, you
rose
were
up.
looking out the window?
Yeah, the restaurant.
The Big Apple?
No, the Big Apple Diner, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a little dumpy diner in Asheville,
North Carolina?
North Carolina. And I was looking out past Black Mountain area, up by the peaks of the summit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a cloud formation. Here's the mountains.
And you said, look at that UFO?
And this was huge.
Wow.
It had rims
Oh, yeah.
where the rims right here were illuminated like a silverish goldish color.
Mm-hmm.
But then this was kind of cloud around it, and there was a dome, and it was massive,
Oh, wow.
just massive. And then there was other cloud formations, just like smaller ones,
Mm-hmm.
like this. They looked just like UFOs, but they were clouds,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a softness to them. But there was, you know...
How about that?
And anyway, so I was telling, and you could see the rims.
You know, that you could see
You
the
could
rim.
see-
What color?
The gold, like a goldish, a peachy, shimmering type,
Mm.
like they were reflecting the sunset or something.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't just a cloud reflecting,
You saw
unless...
two rims on it?
Yeah, two rims, distinct
And the
rims.
dome, uh-huh.
Yeah, but what was weird about that is, so I'm telling everybody, look at that. I go, that is a UFO.
Mhm.
That is a UFO. And I'm going, that's huge. And I was freaking out, and I got the cooks coming out. You know,
Yeah.
oh, look, and they're going, that's amazing. And at the point of saying, look at that, the cloud instantly, this dome that was white in cloud, but it had the shape of the dome, turned a turquoise-ish metallic color and took definite form.
Yeah.
And I was going, did you ever see a cloud do that? And they're all going, oh my God. They didn't know what to think. Because here I am, walking in just ready to eat, and I'm looking out and going, yeah, there's a UFO, and I'm talking to hillbillies about it, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so what happened was, at the point of talking about it, I called my girlfriend up, Judy. I says, man, you gotta look out your window. I go, look in the Old Fort direction. And she goes, yeah, there's been a lot of activity lately. I mean, she's really into this.
Who's this?
Another friend of mine. But anyway, what happened is this cloud, what happened is this kind of like turned on. This dome part is like all of a sudden, if there was a big light bulb in the center of it, it turned on so that you could, so that whatever material, whatever that this was made out of, light, it was
lit up.
It was lit up. And then from there, it dissolved. This thing went flat. Within it, talking about it and looking at it right before our eyes, it just basically went flat, like this. It just kind of went. It shrunk. It just like went flattened out like that. And these other little ships, or basically clouds, moved off, and then this was like basically dissolved. And when it dissolved and then came back. And then the whole cloud just kind of basically dissolved, and that was gone though. But within, I mean, a cloud that big would take forever to just dissipate, but it was gone within 30 seconds, a minute at the most.
Wow.
And in fact, I've got the lady at the diner, they'll probably still remember, the incident of me coming in there and talking about that. Say that again.
That's interesting because I know that they make clouds around themselves and hide inside the cloud that they just made. And in other words, they form clouds for camouflage so that nobody can see them as a UFO or as a metallic thing. They see a clouded shape up there and they think it's a cloud. But in a lot of cases, these strange clouds, they don't act like all the rest of the clouds are all around. They just stand there, and all the rest of the clouds are flying by and flying by and flying by, and that's just staying there.
I know, I've seen that.
You ever see it?
Oh yeah. I mean, there was one cloud up in the middle of the air, and there's no other clouds, and it was there all day. In fact, that was about the fall festival. No, actually, it was a candlelighting ceremony in December, not this past in '88, but it would have been '87, December of '87, that there above the Black Mountain area in North Carolina, there was one particular cloud. In fact, I kept talking to my friend saying, that's the weirdest cloud I've ever seen. It's been there half the day and it hasn't moved.
Yeah.
And he commented on it too. And that was when I was into checking out clouds, because I had a feeling like they were hiding in clouds, but you could still see them. They had the shape of a UFO.
Yeah.
And but this was massive.
Yeah.
This was massive, and the weirdest thing about it is, it's like it turned on.
The light inside the dome.
Yeah, or basically like this started glowing a turquoise color. Because the sky was like a pale blue, but this was a different color. This was blue. And this stood, a turquoise blue, this stood out as a dome. You could see the rims.
How about that?
And then
What mountains were they?
I don't know, just the mountain range near Black Mountain. Going down the summit.
Okay.
The Pisgah National Forest probably area. Down on Interstate 40. But what was weird is that after it turned on, it kind of went real flat. Everything went flat. And then the cloud basically broke up, but it was gone within, like I said. And I could even get, if that cook and the waitress at that diner, I could get them to write about that they remember that happened.
When was this?
That was last year, over a year ago already.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
1988?
Yeah, in
Put that
88.
down.
But it was massive. It must have been A mile or
Good
two
one?
big.
A mile or two big.
It
Wow.
had to be.
hmm
It was huge.
This is near Black Mountain.
Yeah.
In the Black Mountain
Area, yeah. North Carolina. I've seen lots of clouds that look just like UFOs.
hmm
But not this year too much. But last year there was a lot. And then I saw a book. One of my friends, Judy, brought this book over about pictures that were taken around Mount Shasta.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
And she has a book on that?
Yeah.
On pictures of clouds?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I go, well, that's weird because those are just like the clouds that, you know.
That you saw.
Yeah. But
Over
that's
Black
just,
Mountain. This was Judy had this book on
Yeah.
clouds
I
over
forget
Mount
the name
Shasta.
of the book. Yeah.
Hmm.
But they were the same type of clouds. And then in that Man, Myth, and Magic series,
Yeah.
and I had just got done telling my mom about the stories about the clouds I saw that looked like UFOs, and she's going, yeah, Colette. And anyway, so I picked up that Man, Myth, and Magic book, and it was on UFOs. And they had pictures of them in Brazil, of these same clouds that they thought that they were UFOs. And I go, Mom, these are exactly what it was that I saw.
Mm.
You see here? But then my grandma read the story and says, yeah, but they're saying that these are just clouds, and people think that they're UFOs, Colette.
Yeah, well, that's
So-
what they want us to think, right?
So I didn't really enjoy that. The way that it was presented in that book was, neither here nor there about UFOs, basically.
Yeah.
I'm ready. You can show me something. Exactly, just like that. I've seen lots of clouds like that.
Lots of clouds like
Yeah.
that one, huh?
Yeah, but the one that I saw that was the big one
Mm-hmm.
compared to that. See, it had these smaller ones coming out from it.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge,
Ah,
just huge.
mile or two.
It had to
diameter.
be, and it had these dropping from it.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'd see
Postcard.
see no other really clouds around
Flying
there.
saucer.
Yeah, it's Camarillo, California. Yeah, see, these were the things that were photographed in Brazil too.
Yeah.
That after I just get done telling my mom about this, she goes, yeah, correct. That's it. That almost looks like one of the pictures I've drawn.
Yeah.
This is a great picture.
Mm.
That's incredible.
Okay.
That cracks me up. What are those other ones?
Other duplicate. There are other ones that are not as good. Like this is the original.
Oh, I see, yeah. It's amazing,
See
isn't
some?
it?
Yeah, it's fun.
But there haven't been a lot of cloud. I've been looking for them this year as far as like the clouds. I haven't seen a lot of them this year at all. I don't even recall seeing one this year yet. No. Last year there was a lot.
There's been a lot of UFO sightings then, and maybe abductions last year. What do you think?
Well, I know I had a lot of dreams last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was like with the dreams I was having. That was in the era when I was having the dreams about that medical stuff where they were putting that sheeting over my chest.
Oh yeah. You see some more pictures?
Yep.
Now this one is a McDonnell Douglas Aircraft Company over Edwards Air Force Base in September 1957. They were taking a picture of this plane, and were going to use the photographs of it to sell the plane to the Air Force and make more planes. And following the plane was this little 3-foot long UFO following the tail.
Just a
See?
3-foot long UFO,
Yeah.
huh?
See?
Kind of like a little probe, huh?
Right, little probe following the UFO. And they didn't know it till after the publicity pictures were all going to all the people that were interested in buying it and all, buying the plane. And then they did research on it and found out that this wasn't on the ground. It was about the same altitude as flying the plane, right behind the plane. And the government, the Air Force couldn't explain it. You know something?
Yeah.
This is the Paul Trent pictures again. There's a close-up of one, I think. No, it's Catalina Island photograph. Now here's a Coast Guard picture. You see this? Coast Guard picture with these strange lights in the sky. And this is a blow-up and darkening of the lights. The United States Coast Guard released these pictures made by their photographer, Seaman, in 1952, July, off Salem, Massachusetts.
See that?
Yeah, see this?
See the rim type? How?
Yeah. That cloud.
But the big one I saw, you saw the outside rim and a smaller rim, and then there was the dome was on top, but it was massive. I'll try to go make an effort to go to that diner and see if that cook and the waitress lady still works there.
Okay.
And ask them if they remember that and put it down on a statement or something. I'll send you the letter.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
You know?
Yeah, additional witnesses to it. Yeah. With your drawing, that'd be great. Here's two boys in Copenhagen, Denmark, 1959. They took a picture of this. These are the trees, and this is a strange thing that moved at tremendous speed. Here's a tremendous story. This little girl was on a picnic with her father in the hillside, and they took a picture of her. Her father took a picture of her in 1966. And when the picture came out, here there was a spaceman standing behind her that wanted to be in the picture.
That is bizarre.
See? They want to be in the picture sometimes.
Well, that's like the Myers.
Yeah.
The Myers story.
Yeah.
But he's the only one that's able to photograph him.
Right. Well, yeah. No, there's been a couple other ones now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that are taking pictures. Archaeologists digging in Rome in 1961. This mysterious painting. They dug it up with a rocket ship in the water and buildings.
Wow. That's like that guy projected his mind in the future and painted a picture of it.
Yeah.
Or like Jules Verne was good at that.
Yeah.
Writing stories about all that.
Yeah. Here's another strange light in the sky with a path over Georgia. Oh, that was the, I think this is the one where the governor saw
Jimmy
the
Carter?
picture.
Those are weird.
Yeah, these are strange lights moving across the sky. Of course, they don't look like airplanes.
No, that's a weird looking thing.
That's an early one. You see the date on that?
1952.
Yeah. It's leaving a trail right across the sky. Rocket ship. Now these are different ones. Photographer, the strange lights in the sky, you know.
That's a
Yeah, but it looks very similar to the Coast Guard one, doesn't it? And it looks similar to the one that the Coast Guard took?
of the group of lights in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Yeah, see this.
The lights sticking out and stuff. See? That's a very famous one too, Bob King. The light.
Whoa. That is a neat picture.
It's very interesting picture.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now how can people not believe in this stuff?
I don't know. Well, they don't want to believe it. It's up to, they have to form their own minds. Form their own minds, you know. You have to want to be able to accept it in your own mind before you can say, okay, I did see a UFO, you know.
stuff's hurtful.
Oh,
I got some fruit.
good.
Plums.
I'm gonna have to bring that fruit in from the car too. I've got cheese and apple juice. We're just
yeah.
put that in
Oh,
the
wow.
fridge, and I've got
Yeah.
bananas and apples and a whole bunch of stuff we can eat this week.
Okay. See that colored picture?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's the front cover of the Look magazine. See?
Oh yeah.
Read front cover. Coral Lorenzen, who was an investigator, one of the top investigators, took that picture, or found it. These are other different things like pinwheels of light going, well, on ships, flying over the ships or going through the water under the ships.
You remember I told you that drain that they hide in water?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm. These are Japanese figurines of what they think is ancient astronaut with headgear and all. Space helmets.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean,
Mhm.
something's going on. Ooh, that's nasty looking. I think that's evil looking.
He came down from the...
There's I want to draw you a picture also of another thing I've seen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't stand clothes anymore. There you go. You want to draw it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically what it was in this dream that I had.
This is a drawing of a UFO in the... Which dream?
It was a pod. This is in
Oh, the pod.
a little pod.
Okay.
Basically like a bubble pod.
Mm-hmm.
And
What was the dream about?
the dream I was in the backyard of the house that I was growing up as a child. But the dream was odd because I was an adult.
Oh, okay.
But I was an adult walking in the backyard
Mm-hmm.
of the house that I grew up in.
Mhm.
This would be in Las Vegas. And Jeff was with me. And we were looking up in the sky and it came down. I'm going, Jeff, see, this is really happening. This is it, you
Yeah.
know. And when it landed, it was like this bubble pod. It landed, and I walked with Jeff arm in arm, and I had my hand up. I was like, friends? Yeah, right,
Mhm.
right. And I was being in peace, you know. I was saying, hey, I want to be friends,
Mhm.
but I was really afraid. But then the guy came out of the bubble, and I saw him, and I thought, I knew you. It was like, and we embraced and hugged, and it was very warm, and I knew the guy. It's like I'd been with him before,
Yeah.
you know. It
Yeah.
was, but anyway, it was just like a pod,
So how big?
a book. Well, and basically it was like this, and it opened up, and like
The
this.
pod opened up.
Right, it landed on the ground. It opened up like this.
Oh,
and he
wow.
was inside of it. It was like just a one-man
Mm-hmm.
thing, and he was inside of it like this, kind of crouched down in it, you know, like just sitting in it,
Yeah.
and then he got out.
Yeah.
It was like rocking,
Right.
but it was like just a bubble.
How about that? What color was it?
A grayish, charcoal, grayish, metallic type.
Let's see.
Clone. So now,
There you go, right over the lake. With a big tube coming out and sucking water up. This was 3 foot to 4 foot figures seen on the deck of this craft when it landed in a cove of Steep Rock Lake, Ontario. Moved slowly like robots, changing direction and turning their bodies. July 1950.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? That's the Travis Walton experience.
It's amazing, huh?
Being shot by a blue beam from this UFO and then disappearing for 5 days.
That, to me,
Yeah? Beyond Earth.
oh, that's Reiki with me.